Statistics say that I'm supposed to be in jail, and I'm not supposed to be alive.
So I ended up homeless. I ended up out on the street.
There was always tension, there was always hostility. You're never gonna make it because you're poor and you're black. Returning to a darkness that I didn't want to be in anymore. There's so many people in the world that don't feel worthy. When there's so much uncertainty and you don't feel like there's a lot of good going on.
Everything that had happened had brought me to this position where I am now.
We got a lot in common. I lived in a car before.
She suffered so much horror in her life. I felt a huge responsibility for her. I wake up crying, grieving from her because I miss her so much. For anybody who's had a lot of pain in the background, there's a level of good on the other side of it.
I remember being about 11, 12 years old on my way to my new school, and I got to this intersection, and there was a man standing there saying, "Will someone help me cross?" And there were all of these people that kept passing by him and passing by him. I said, "I'll help you cross." So I helped him cross the street to get there. We became good friends.
He was the first black man to see me, and he was blind.
You were born Emmett Perry Jr. You changed your name, you said, to distance yourself from your father.
He hated me so much, and I couldn't understand why. But I remember him cornering me in a room. He just would not stop. No matter how dark or difficult things were in my life, I could go inside of my head and go somewhere else. I knew that my mother wanted to protect me. She would open the door for anybody. Anybody who's in trouble, she would give you a place to stay, she'd feed you. My parents had no examples. They were two wounded children trying to raise a wounded child. They gave birth to this kid who had a vision and a hope that he could be something else. Statistics say that I'm supposed to be in jail, and I'm not supposed to be alive. I had a school teacher who told me that you're never gonna make it because you're poor and you're black. I wrote my first play. I was around 18 or 19 years old. I watched the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she said it was cathartic to write things down. That was the beginning of where I was headed. I had put every dime I had in this play, and I thought 1,200 people would show up, and only 30 showed up. Lost everything I had.
So I ended up out on the street.
Because I hear my mother's voice in the back of my head saying, "You always could have come home." But going back to New Orleans would have represented returning to a darkness. Sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I don't feel like getting up and going, do the next thing. Every moment was leading to expansion. I do believe that for all of that pain and hell I was going through as a child, there had to be beauty.
How do you get from there to a mansion on a mountaintop?
A lot of faith, a lot of hard work.
Everything that had happened had brought me to this position where I am now.
She suffered so much horror in her life. The abuse from my father. I wanted her to understand that she was worthy of more. Yet she called me up crying one day. She said, "I wouldn't be able to buy my medicine had you not made it." My mother was truly my saving grace. I still grieve for her. Sometimes I wake up crying, grieving from her because I miss her so much.
What would be the second best thing that you do? That.
From the first day we sat down and had a conversation where she was so open with me, I felt a responsibility to do all I could to help her.
He shows us who we are, and more importantly, who we can become.
And you were trying to help her, you'd send your plane to send her to rehab.
Like most people who deal with people who have addiction issues, they sense that there is a death day coming.
Whitney Houston has died at the age of 48.
Bobby Christina told Tyler she wanted to try acting. He gave her a small role on his hit TV series.
There is this tremendous net of safety. There's a place to come in, learn to fly and soar.
Tyler Perry honors the life of Bobby Christina Brown with a touching tribute video.
There's so many people in this world that don't feel worthy.
When I started hiring people like Taraji and Viola Davis and Idris Elba, they couldn't get jobs in this town. I was trying to help somebody cross.
I knew there was something special about her.
We got a lot in common. Ty lived in a car before, and then he pulled himself up by his bootstraps and created an empire, and that's what I want to do. He's teaching me.
For anybody who's had a lot of pain in the background, there's a level of good on the other side of it.
When I built my studio, I built it in a neighborhood that is one of the poorest black neighborhoods in Atlanta, so the young black kids can see that a black man did that and they can do it too. I was trying to help somebody cross. If you start to believe and see yourself as a full, whole person.
No matter what the consequences, I was coming out. I was going to find some light. I wanted to live in peace, not in pieces.
There are many people in this world that are wanting, waiting, saying, asking, begging, hoping. Will someone help me cross? You also have the power to lift people. Nothing is holding us back. We have the capacity. We are smart enough. We are brilliant enough. We are talented enough. If you work really, really hard, if you do right, if you honor people, if you do the best that you can, the possibilities are limitless.